Welcome to the Buck Stops here, the official podcast of NotInHallOfFame.com, and I'm your host, the Buck, Kirk Buckner, owner-operator of NotInHallOfFame.com, and all-around good guy or asshole/alcoholic, the latter of which was a little bit on display as I was enjoying some Bajan rum as we had a conversation with Evan Nolan about the Baseball Hall of Fame's announcement of the Veterans class of 2020. I'm pretty happy with that, with at least two inductees, Marvin Miller and Ted Simmons, and we also look ahead as to what we might see for the next class. Without further ado, here's Evan, who's probably a lot more sober than I am. Of course, that's usually the case. Here he is. Evan, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you, sir?
Not too bad, not too bad. So the wife went to Chicago, but you didn't meet her. What was up with that?
She's too cool for me. You were upset about clearly some of my takes on the hockey hall, and it rubbed off. So
Only with Pierre Turgeon.
Yeah, I get your point, but Pierre Turgeon still, I think, deserves to be in the hockey hall. So
all right, okay.
Just maybe I'll give other people a chance. Turgeon is still way up there. So, but that's what we're talking about today, right?
No, yeah, we've got some. I've been looking forward to this for a while because the Baseball Veterans Hall of Fame, Veterans Committee. My apologies, and you and I were roughly a similar age, so like you and I both remember when they would sort of like come up with a committee and you didn't expect them to come up with any nominee.
Right. Yeah, that happened for quite a while.
Oh my God, yeah. So we've got two. So let's look at the two that they've got. And I'm pretty happy with the two they have. What do you think?
Well, let's just start with the non-player first.
Sure.
Marvin Miller's been dead for 7 years now. But he is one of the foremost figures, not in just development of professional sports in this country, but in really labor relations.
Mm-hmm.
And he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame while he was alive.
Absolutely.
I believe right now he'd be 99, I think, if I'm doing my math. 92 in 2012. And particularly since in 2007 he was up, and the people that are infinite wisdom like Dewey Keene, mm-hmm. the former commissioner of baseball, who never over again. So it's great to see him finally get his due. We interested to see what the speech is. Just sorry he's not around to give it. Part of me hopes he somehow recorded one just in case he ever got in. Because that'd be fantastic. But yeah, it's great to see Marvin Miller in.
Yeah, no, it is. Actually, there was a comment on the site from your friend of mine, Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
Talarelli, who just said okay, so who would be the people who actually voted against him? Because it was, what was it, 13 or 12? I can't remember exactly. So that, long story short, it meant that 3 or 4 people said no to Marvin Miller. They weren't players.
Yeah, he got 13 of the 16.
Right.
So 3 people voted against him, didn't vote against him. They just didn't vote for him.
I can't imagine who that would be.
My thought on that is it may just be a simple thing like, well, he's not a player. Why are we voting for him? Or there are only so many people they could vote for, and they think that he's going to get in, and they'd rather vote for whoever the people are. Although it didn't seem like there were that many votes, honestly, that were cast.
Right.
When you look at the whole totals for everybody.
Yeah, because they could vote for as many as they wanted to, couldn't they?
I thought I read that they were only allowed to vote for 5. But still, there are only 10 of them or 12 of them on the...
Right. So Marvin's in, and I think that you and I are both in agreement that this is fantastic. He should be. And Ted Simmons is in.
Yeah. And Ted Simmons, going by... I know WAR and Jaws are both imperfect measures, but if you go by WAR
mm-hmm.
with catchers...
Right.
Simmons is the 10th greatest catcher ever in baseball. All the other ones ahead of him are Hall of Fame, except for Joe Mauer, because Joe Mauer isn't eligible yet.
Right.
If you go over to Jaws, he's still 10th, and the only person ahead of him is 12th of both those measures. Just by the way.
Yeah. And
so I mean, if we've both felt for as long as we've been talking about this, that Simmons is somebody who deserves serious consideration. It's wonderful to see that he got over the line too, even if he's a Cardinal and I live in Cubs country now. I actually don't care, but there are people who do around here.
Right.
But yeah, no, I feel like Simmons is definitely a worthy candidate. Honestly, all those guys, if had any of them gotten in, all of them would be better than, let's just say, someone who may have been elected last year,
who also was based in Chicago.
Who played baseball mostly in the city and in Baltimore. But I mean, just Baines getting in changes the lower floor so incredibly much. But Simmons is someone who. He's legitimately the best available catcher who's not in the Hall of Fame.
All right,
and it's hard to argue if you have the best person at a position who's not in and is eligible and you're voting. That's doing a pretty good job.
All right, so Evan, I got to ask you. So from someone who went from one baseball mecca, Boston, to another one in Chicago, because this is just someone as a Canadian who now lives in the Caribbean. Because I'm curious, right? I haven't been to Chicago, and the last time I was there was 20 years ago when it was for a Bears game. And where you're living in Chicago, is that White Sox or Cubs country? So for you,
I'm in
moving there,
I'm in the
I'm
northwest
curious.
suburbs, which is Cubs.
Okay.
A family of Cubs fans that we're married into, except there's my father-in-law's best friend's family who is always around us as well. They're all White Sox fans. So that's a little bit interesting. Actually, I may have told the story before, but if not, the White Sox actually saved my father-in-law's best friend's life when game, and the people there got him medical attention within a minute of him having the stroke. He got in the hospital, and he lived another 5 years over something probably would have killed him otherwise. So the White Sox have a pretty strong part within family as to how they did everything, and they had him at the first pitch a year later. He actually had a stroke on Stroke Awareness Day, which is August 26th in baseball. And so he threw out the first pitch. So it's I would say, honestly, if you listen to sports radio around here, it's mostly Cubs talk all the time. The White Sox are beginning to get interesting. The signing of Yasmani Grandal has moved the needle a little bit. But I would say mostly it seems like Cubs country around where I
am. You want to know what I hear where I am? I hear cricket.
That is a sport I have tried to understand. And I don't get it.
Oh, you and me both. I don't get that. My wife and I, we were given tickets to go to Barbados versus, I don't know, some other fucking island here. So I'm assuming that no other Caribbeans are going to listen to this.
So Kitts and Nevis. So continue.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And we didn't go, and blah, 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 blah. So, fuck. But it's the same conversation I have. People trying to explain to me cricket. No, I'll explain baseball. That sucks. No, that sucks. That sucks. That sucks. Hey, let's have a beer. And then it ends.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And something like that. And I have yet to go see a cricket. I want to very badly. But I didn't go to do that with someone who could explain that to me while I was watching it.
Right. Yeah. That's actually when I was living in Argentina. I went to a polo match down there.
You lived in Argentina?
At the Hippodrome. Apparently, the polo matches are played at hippodromes in Argentina, and would have had really pretty obvious, you're riding a horse with a long stick trying to hit a ball.
You lived in Argentina, and I just learned
You
this
could see if
now.
everything actually worked. It made it better because without it, it kind of looks like a kid's soccer game with a whole bunch of people clustered around on horses chasing a ball. But it was that makes a big difference when you go to a sport you don't understand with somebody who actually loves it and knows how it works.
Yeah, I was just saying, and I think we got disconnected a bit. You lived in Argentina. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was in Argentina. Yeah, until recently, because my heart has made a decision on English soccer in the last year. Until recently, the only real soccer team I cared about was River Plate in Buenos Aires.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a visceral hatred of all things Boca Juniors.
Oh.
But
Do you know that I've got a Boca
Juniors?
I've got a Boca Juniors jersey
during law school. So
I have a Boca Juniors jersey, which I will wear once we meet. Finally.
I'll bring my River jersey. We can pretend to fight. So
it'll be pretending.
Here's how you think teams hate each other. Here is true hatred. I was at the last ever game. Boca fans are allowed in River Stadium. Now, River Stadium,
and
it's divided with the two end zones and the two sidelines. So there's like 4 sections. So this was the Super Classico of the 1900s. This was 1999, and River won 2-0. So one of the end zones is all Boca fans in blue and yellow, and the rest of the stadium looks like a Where's Waldo convention in red and white. The Boca fans in their section of the stadium, now I was only about 25, 30 feet from there, way up at the top, though, so I was out of the range of what they were projectiles they were throwing. But they had, at my count, 45 separate fires burning on the stadium.
Only 45.
Put out with hoses. They jumped over the barbed wire to cut the hoses. A policeman tried to get involved. They pushed him from the upper deck to the lower deck. He fell all the way down. Like, it was nuts. And then they let all the Boca fans out of the stadium first and, locked it so the River fans could get out. And as soon as River fans were allowed out, you could see them, at the turnstiles waiting, and people just took off sprinting. And there was I saw a lady in the front of a kiosk wearing Boca colors, a pregnant lady, bleeding from her head because she had to be wearing Boca colors when the mob came by. So it's nuts.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of me with my Boca Juniors jersey. I don't even remember how I got it, but me with that in Bali, with the sun down there. Because
hey, you're breaking up a little bit, man. I missed part of that. You just broke up.
Yeah, I was just saying I've got a picture of me with my Boca Juniors jersey in Bali, Indonesia. Gee, why would I be in Indonesia? Oh, that's right, I married an Indonesian.
I've also been to Bali. I was bitten by a monkey there on my 30th birthday.
No shit.
So, yeah, which was my story when I was on Jeopardy. So.
All right. So,
yeah, I may have finished third on Jeopardy, but I definitely won the swimsuit portion of the competition.
Yeah, but at least you got
story.
Yeah, so. At least you got on Jeopardy. I couldn't get on.
That is true.
I tried. I did try.
Let's get back to baseball.
Yeah, nice. All right, so with baseball, so here, what do we have? So we have 2 people I think we're pretty much happy with. And I don't know how you feel, Evan, because if any one of those other guys got in, I would have been happy with it. Every single one of them.
Yeah. Well, as a Red Sox fan, the fact that Dwight Evans was the closest to didn't get in was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really like Evans. My name is Evan. As a kid, Dwight Evans was basically one of the best guys. I mean, those Red Sox teams, you had Bob Evans, Ellis Burks, Roger Clemens, all those guys. And everyone called me Dewey.
Because of that, really?
Oh, just for the Evans. Yeah, as the Evans Connect.
Wow.
Childhood nickname in the Grotto by the time Dwight retired. But it was really cool seeing him get as close as he did to the Hall. That gives me hope for I guess they're up again in 3 years now because next year they have the golden era and early times will both be up next year. But Evans is the 15th best right fielder ever. Yep. And everyone ahead of him is in the Hall of Fame except for Larry Walker, who's on the – he may get in this year. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And Shoeless Joe, who's not in for obvious reasons. So, but yeah. So I was pretty happy for that. I was surprised few Dale Murphy got.
Yeah, I was too. Having said that, though, I was actually pretty happy with what Evans got. I wanted nothing against Ted Simmons. I really wanted Whitaker to get an over him. You know, from the Tigers. Like, what do you think?
I'm sorry, you just faded out again. I didn't hear.
My bad. I was sort of like actually personally, my personal thing was for Lou Whitaker.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, Lou Whitaker. I mean, I think we all agree. Both Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell should have been a long, long time ago. Now they got Trammell 3 years ago with Jack Morris,
right?
And Whitaker is still waiting, and I still don't have her.
Yeah, and
I love Dwight Evans, but Lou Whitaker should be in before Evans.
Really? Okay, so you think you'd put Whitaker over Evans?
I would.
Okay. So with some of the others, like one of my personal favorites as a kid, and I'm a few years older than you, even though I don't like learning what I have about sort of like advanced metrics, but whatever. I love Dave Parker. I fucking love Dave Parker.
Yeah, I mean, Whitaker by WAR is the 7th best second baseman ever.
Mm-hmm.
And again, WAR's the all end all. But the only people in front of him are Rogers Hornsby, Eddie Collins, Nick LaJoy, Joe Morgan, Ron Crew, and Charlie Gehringer.
Yep.
That's a pretty good list of second basemen. Interestingly, though, right? Do you know who's right behind Whitaker in WAR?
No, who?
Bobby Grich.
Yeah, and
it's the 8th best second baseman. And he seems to have disappeared off of all of these things.
Why do you think that is?
So, I don't know. Because he's actually, I guess, technically would be in the... No, he'd be in this group. Because he would have been in this. So this would have been his group, and he wasn't even on the list. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who could have been in this list that should have got inducted. Having said that, the fact that they at least inducted 2 people, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and they're 2 worthy people, and there's no... Like I said last year, I had no trouble really with Lee Smith getting in because he was on the ballot for 15 years. He was the saves in many ways. It's a counting stats thing. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Smith didn't quite get in. He had getting in, although Ted Simmons never even was on one ballot.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Vicker was the same way. And another person who I advocate for a lot, who's Kenny Lofton, also was 1 and out.
Right.
I think Lofton is massively underrated.
Oh my God, I totally agree.
If Lofton had played for the Indians his entire career, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. But his problem was at the end there, he was on a different team every year and undervalued.
Oh my God, it's so true. It's like Lofton was one of those players where, like, you could just say, like, you could pick up, say, like, any major league team and say, like, oh yeah, he played for them. Like, did he? And you'd believe it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, I love Lofton. Loved him.
Yeah, I love Lofton. I love Lofton too. But it's just he gets lost in the shuffle, and he's actually in the group that will be looked at 2 years from now. The today's game group, or the people who are basically most of their careers from '88 and after.
Yeah.
So it'll be a couple years where he's up again. So.
But I am happy that you have okay. So at this point, we know that we've got 2 inductees. Jeter's going to come win next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's I think that's a lock. Do you think he's going to be 100%?
Yes, I think it's going to be unanimous because the same people who did silly things like only put Rivera on last year are doing silly things and only putting Jeter on this year. So yeah, I think Jeter's. I think I'd be surprised if Jeter's not unanimous. But he's definitely getting in. He's gonna have 97+% of the vote. The floor for his induction is 97%. So
right. And he will. I think he's going to get in. I don't think it's going to be unanimous, though.
It's possible. But I think that now that the floodgates have opened with Rivera last year, I think that it's going to make sense. It wouldn't surprise me if they do the same thing happens with Jeter.
Yeah, and it should. And I feel so bad because, like, I hate the fact that Rivera was the first unanimous because I love Rivera.
Oh, right.
I do. I think he was like the best relief pitcher of all time, but he should not have been the first unanimous player. Am I wrong here?
Yeah, I mean it's weird that the first one to get unanimous is a relief pitcher. I mean, just in general, that's a strange statement. I would say that. I thought a few years ago that Griffey was the one to break that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Junior Griffey.
Yeah.
And he's incredibly likable. He was great with the press. He was a freak athlete, at least before he got injured and got it when he was in Cincinnati. And it just seems he had everything for Hall of Famer, and even it was like 97%. He didn't quite get all of them, and you're just like, what are we doing here? What's the purpose? But I'm just glad. I'm glad it was Rivera, and I'm a Red Sox fan, right? I'm glad it was a Yankee. I'm glad it was Rivera who at least broke the sign, so we can stop having that dumb conversation as to, well, Babe Ruth didn't get unanimous, so why should anyone else?
Right. Yeah, and
since Babe Ruth's time.
With Ruth, that was like so long ago, and that's fine. But there were so many other players, and it's like I love Rivera. I think he was. I will say over and over, he was the greatest relief pitcher ever. But should he have been the first unanimous? Like, fuck no. But whatever.
Not in a world where Willie Mays exists. Which is which world we live in.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, so...
and if not Willie Mays, then Henry Aaron. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, him too. Actually, I'll segue here a bit. I've been working on sort of like for the next site, the great, like for the MVP players and how that sort of like works for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Holy shit, there were some players in the 70s who had no business winning that. Like Mays and Aaron should have like won way more than what they did.
Right, yeah. That doesn't surprise me, and I'm sure that those MVPs helped any of those guys get into the Hall?
Some of them didn't. Well, Jeff Burroughs. That's the one that sticks in my head the most. Jeff Burroughs, Texas Rangers, 1974. Like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, well, I mean, Mo Vaughn is still waiting for his after his 1995 MVP. So.
Exactly. Don Baylor, 1979, California Angels. I was like, how the hell did that happen too? But that's neither here nor there. So
one baseball game a week, right?
Or something, yeah. So
outside your local market, all you got to see was the baseball game of the week, and it'd be the Yankees playing somebody. So that's part of the reason I think that, like, well, he won an MVP, he must be good. So.
Or something, yeah. So you watched it on NBC, or like, what did you watch that on? Because like that's what I saw it on in Canada.
I'm sorry.
When you're saying like game of the week.
Oh, I don't know when I only watch Red Sox games pretty much, but I mean, it was ESPN eventually, Sunday Night Baseball and stuff. I was just thinking, like, do you remember watching This Week in Baseball?
Yes. How about that? That's why I saw most of the things and the plays and everything was on This Week in Baseball. Like, I'm sure it's been gone for 20 years now. It stopped at some point. I don't remember when. But, yeah. Is that Mel Allen or Mel something or other?
Is Mel Allen? Does that make sense? I think that's right. I'll look it up. Hold on.
Something like that.
This Week in Baseball. Yeah, Mel Allen.
Yeah, I still remember him, the Naked Gun.
It went up here more recently than I thought. It went up here in 2011.
Oh, my God. Yeah, damn.
It ran from 1977 through 2011.
All right, so Jeter's going to get in this year. The one I never thought would get this far, and the push there is incredible. It's Larry Walker, my fellow Canadian. Is he getting in? You think?
I think Larry Walker. So Walker finished 8th last year. So the top four: Rivera, Halladay, Martinez, and Mussina all gone in. So next up is Schilling, Clemens, and Bonds. The blob of guys who have, let's just say, some reasons people will not necessarily vote for them. Right.
Right.
What their candidacies are, but I don't think any of them. I mean, Schilling at 60.9%. He was at 51.2 the year before, 45 the year before that. So he's trending in the right direction. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to jump 15% this year. He didn't suddenly become more likable over the last year, which is his major issue. So
totally.
Walker's at 54.6 last year. He was at 34 the year before that and 21 the year before that. Now we're talking years 7, 8, and 9 on his time. So this is because of the rule change. This is his last time on the ballot. And with him being the number one, his strike against him is the fact he played in Coors Field. Mm-hmm. But he had no control over where he played his home game.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
His splits are noticeable, but they're not like insane. They're not Andres Galarraga crazy like those Dante Bichette particularly. Dante Bichette's numbers in Colorado and outside of Colorado are like absolutely nuts if you ever look at them. Mm-hmm. And I remember that because he played for the Red Sox after he left the Rockies, and we're like, he's not that good. But if you go back, like I said, if you go back to right fielders, Larry Walker is the 10th best right fielder of all time according to Wool, mm-hmm. and according to Jaws, he is also right fielders goes Ruth, Aaron, Musial, Mel Ott, Frank Robinson, Bill Clemente, Al Kaline, Reggie Jackson, Harry Hillman, all of whom are no doubt Hall of Famers.
Right.
Larry Walker. And then you have Paul Wainer, Sam Crawford, Shoeless Joe, Tony Gwynn, Dwight Evans.
Yeah, you know what?
Sammy Sosa, Dave Winfield, Bob Abreu.
I think Walker is getting in this year. I really think it's going to be like one of the greatest in terms of like however you want us to like point this in terms of voting. It just 2 years ago I said like he was fucked, but I think he's going in this year. What do you think?
I think he is. I think he's going to get like 77% of the vote mm-hmm. and get over the line because they're going to. For a few years ago, there were just way too many people to vote for, but there just aren't that many people left to vote for on this list. Mm-hmm. You could vote for up to 10. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 people returning from last year. And I don't know how many people are going to be voting for Andrew Jones and Sammy Sosa at this point.
I do like Andrew Jones. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. So then, who are they going to vote for? Are they voting for Manny? He's got issues.
Well, yeah, 1 or 2.
Couldn't hit. I mean, Mazeroski is the poster child for that, but he needed a veterans committee. You got Jeff Kent, Scott Rowland, Billy Wagner, Todd Helton. Like, none of these, Gary Sheffield's got issues. Like, none of these guys are surefire Hall of Famers. The only people coming in, you have Jeter, who we've decided is in.
Right.
Then you got Bobby Abreu, Jason Giambi, Cliff Lee, Josh Beckett, Brian Roberts, Alfonso Soriano, Eric Chavez, Rafael Furcal. Like, none of those guys are. Abreu, I just read off. He's the 20th best right fielder. Like, none of those guys are people who you just, like, have to put in.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if people aren't going to vote for more than one, which is what they're accustomed to doing.
Yeah, and I'm really I'm personally hoping for Larry Walker. I would love that more than anything else.
You're an Expo fan.
I'm actually not. Although I have gone to a couple Expos games back in the day. Here's a random thing. In Montreal at the Big O, went to a concert where it was Metallica and Guns N' Roses, and it didn't go too good.
Mm.
Yeah, that was where there was apparently, I don't even remember because I was, let's just say, a little inebriated.
Okay, I can't imagine you. Never.
No, yeah, never. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. Appreciate it, brother. And what was it? James Hadfield. He is apparently his hair caught on fire, and GNR didn't play. So
hard for you to enjoy.
What's that? Oh, nothing to do with me. But yeah, apparently that happened back in the day. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think Larry Walker's getting in. I think everyone else is getting close. It's also Walker's last year in the ballot, so people are going to want to vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that and Jeter. So.
And that's good, right? Because I think if you got a Jeter, Walker, I just
Simmons.
forgot. Thank you. Jeter, Walker, Simmons. That's a good baseball Hall of Fame. Am I wrong here?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be pretty good. But yeah, and I think we're going to get closer with Bonds and Clemens and Schilling. Schilling may even approach.
Well, Schilling could get in too, because he's
going to get in, but he'll get in 2021 or 2022.
Well, Schilling kept his mouth shut though, so he could get in this year.
Yeah, he could. I just don't think he's going to jump much. There's just enough people who, what the whole stuff went on with the gaming company he had in Rhode Island, and just the way he's been dealing with things. I think there are enough sports writers who are have enough trouble given this day and age in ignoring the off the field stuff that he's going to have to wait a little longer. I can't see him going up 15% this year, even without other people without any other really major people coming onto the ballot. So,
all right. So personally, do you think he should be in though?
Do I think Schilling should be in the Hall as a player? Yes.
Yeah,
I do. It's going to be interesting, though, because this is year 8 for him, Clemens, and Bonds. And Sosa, but Sosa's never getting in.
No.
So they've only got a couple more shots to move up the last 15% those guys need to get in. So this is going to be a pretty good test as to whether or not it happens. Mm-hmm. So,
what percentage do you think that Bonds and Clemens need to hit this year? Just sort of like I say, okay, like they've got a shot.
So both of them were just below 60%.
Mm-hmm.
If they get to 65, I think it's going to happen. Yeah, I think if they get to 65. If they're at like 64.8, I don't think that makes that much of a difference. But 65 is about where we need to be.
Right.
Looking.
Yeah, because like 3 years ago, like who the hell would have thought we would even have this discussion?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is they very well may get in next year. Because can I just read you the 2021 eligibles?
Yeah, please.
In alphabetical order, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Burley, AJ Burnett, Michael Kadire, Dan Herron, Tim Hudson, Torrey Hunter, Adam LaRoche, Aramis Ramirez, Alex Rios, who's most famous for having a terrible contract, Nick Swisher, who's somehow now become like the voice of the Yankees, like Kevin Millar is somehow the voice of the Red Sox, Dan Ugla, Shane Victorino, and Barry Zito. Are any of those guys getting in?
Nope.
Burley, Burnett, Kadire, Herron, Hudson, Hunter. Torrey Hunter, I think, will stick around the ballot for a while, just for his glove and all personality. And he was a hell of a baseball player. He had 2,400 hits.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he'll get in, but he'll stick around for a while. LaRoche, Aramis Ramirez, Alex Rios, Nick Swisher, Dan Ugla, Shane Victorino, Barry Zito. So they're literally going to have no one to vote for next year. If those guys don't get in, it's just basically going to be a class of Omar Vizquel.
Thinking of Dan Ugla for the Hall of Fame makes me laugh.
Yeah. And in 2022, the last year they're eligible if they don't get in next year, it's Carl Crawford, Prince Fielder, Ryan Howard, Tim Lincecum, Joe Nathan, David Ortiz, Jonathan Papelbon, Jake Peavy, AJ Pierzynski, Alex Rodriguez, Jimmy Rollins, and Mark Teixeira. That's a much stronger group of people that they're going to have to contend with. So it may very well be next year for them or not at all.
All right, so let's look at A-Rod, because since that came up, what do you think?
I think it depends whether those other guys get in. I mean, by measurables, A-Rod is the second best shortstop of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Presuming you count him as a shortstop and not a third baseman.
Right.
But he has honestly done a huge amount of rebuilding of goodwill with how he's been on baseball broadcasts.
Thank you, Jennifer Lopez, but yes.
And yeah, right. I mean, he's also Jennifer Lopez's sixth husband. I think it's sixth. It may be fifth. I'm sorry, but I mean, the only Hall of Famer with better numbers than him is Honus Wagner as a shortstop. So I think he's in, but I think how long it takes for him to get in is going to depend on Clemens and Bonds, really Clemens and Bonds. I don't think Schilling necessarily has as much of impact on
right. Yeah, I agree.
Whether or not he gets in.
Yeah, I agree. Schilling has nothing to do with that. Bonds, yes. Clemens, yes.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
So it'll be interesting. Plus, Ortiz is up too. And now Ortiz, believe me, I love Big Papi. He could run for mayor of Boston and never lose. But he also was allegedly, and we have no way of knowing this because baseball, and Ortiz had no way of defending himself against it. But when they had the testing back in 2003 for the Mitchell report, where they were just doing the testing, the only two names who allegedly tested positive were A-Rod and Ortiz. Now, we have no proof that A-Rod or Ortiz actually were dirty at that time. A-Rod later had his own issues. But Ortiz, other than that, it's entirely clean as far as testing-wise. I don't know how much that 2003 rumor is going to count against him. I also don't know how much it's going to count against him that the dude only carried a baseball glove for World Series games. So I don't know how much that's going to count against him. I mean, Edgar Martinez is in, so we've already broken the seal on DHs getting in. Harold Baines is also in, so we've really broken the seal on DHs getting in. And Ortiz should be a first ballot, in my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see, too, with him and A-Rod at the same time.
So. No, it's so funny to bring that up with Baines. Baines is going to be something that you and I are going to talk about for the next 30 years. You know that, right?
It's like Harold Baines is in, but Lou Whitaker's not. Harold Baines is in, but like fill in the blank of your favorite person. But whoever is, Dwight Evans is not. Thurman Munson is not. Like Gil Hodges is not. Like you can just pick somebody and be like, how is that a thing? And Harold Baines is a very good baseball player. I do not mean to disparage him.
Agreed. Yeah,
he's probably
awesome.
He's probably
for sure.
like in the 80th percentile. You know, he's like probably an 88 on 100 scale. Well, we should be letting 88 on 100 scales in the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like you to at least be a 90. At least get an A minus.
No, totally. So we think Jeter's going to get in. Walker, I think Walker is.
I think he's going to scoot over the line.
Yeah, I do. This sounds so corny. I think Walker is going to walk right over.
You have been drinking. The puns are getting worse.
Yeah, well, fuck. I've been drinking. When don't I drink?
When you're sleeping?
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, like last year was Edgar Martinez's last shot at the Hall, but he was at 70% the year before, so he didn't have as far to go.
Mm-hmm.
Walker's got, almost 21 points. That's a long way, but it's his 10th. So, and 2017, it was Tim Raines' last time in the ballot, and he got in. Last year it didn't help McGriff, but McGriff will be in 2022.
No, he won't.
Anyway, because
no,
he'll be on that the modern game ballot that he's going to walk in.
No, he'll be on that ballot. He won't get it in.
Yeah, he will.
No, he won't.
You don't think that? Right. You don't think Baines is going to get on the today's game ballot?
Yeah, that's Baines. I don't think McGriff is.
I'm sorry, not Baines. I mean McGriff. You don't think McGriff's going to get in?
Nope.
The returning people from that ballot are Albert Bell, Will Clark, Earl Hershiser, and Mark McGwire.
I'm seeing it right here. No, he won't. I'm not saying that he shouldn't. I'm just saying that he won't.
If they had a ballot that still went 15 years, he's going to get in the Hall of Fame sooner than he would if they still had the 15-year voting on the ballot.
I will maintain what I'm saying, man.
I think we need some more beer to put it on the line
here. Or something, yeah, man. That's just what I think.
I'm pretty sure McGriff is going to get in on the next time they have a chance. But just by the way, for next year on the top people who are probably going to be eligible for those Golden Days and early baseball ballots, it's for Golden Days, just for people who've been on before, it's Dick Allen, Tony Oliva, Maury Wills, Minnie Minoso, Ken Boyer, Gil Hodges, Vada Pinson, Don Newcomb, Kurt Flood of Rocky Colavito. So those are probably who's going to be up for that. And for early baseball, it's Bill Dolan, Wes Farrell, get a whole bunch, Allie Reynolds, Mickey Vernon, Sherry McGee, the nicest man ever in baseball history, Carl Mays. That is not true. Vern Stevens, Lefty O'Doul. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone's getting in from the Bill Dolan's probably the most likely to get in from the early baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And from the Golden Days, Dick Allen just ended up just short. Last time he needed to get 12 votes and he got 11. Last time he was on. So it would surprise me. Oliva was the same. Oliva needed 12 and he got 11 last time. So we'll see if any of them actually get in. But it would surprise me if we had Allen, Oliva, or Dolan in the Hall next year with with Omar Vizquel and Kurt Schilling. So,
yeah, I'll make that bet.
all right.
And on that note, my friend.
Yes. Good luck with the rapidly growing content on the site.
Thank you, sir.
And don't let the authorities know you're sort of working. You're actually don't have a work permit, right, down there?
No, not down here. No, I don't.
But the website's hosted in Canada, right? So it doesn't matter. You're just on a
hosted in the U.S.
vacation.
Actually.
I'm sorry, what?
Hosted in the United States.
Ah, okay. Either way, you're still a long-term vacation to the islands and working in the U.S.
Absolutely, absolutely. Long story short, that we're gonna wherever we meet, it's gonna be drunk.
Fine, I'm up. I'll have to leave the kids somewhere, but other than that, I'm up.
Yeah, I got to meet my kids, but other than that, it's all good.
Cool, man. We'll see. The baseball hall vote is the first week of January, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking we have a class of 4. We already know who 2 are, but we're going to have 2 more.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely.
All right. Good to talk to you, man. Let me know the next thing we need to go over.
All right, for sure. All right, take care, my friend.
All right.
Bye.
Later. Bye.